solve, we now go into the concept of parturition. What is parturition? Parturition is the act of expelling a full-term baby from the mother's uterus at the end of pregnancy, completed in 280 days from the mother's last menstrual cycle. So from last menstrual cycle, 280 days later, the uterus contracts and the fetus is delivered out of the mother's body. That phenomenon is called as parturition. How does parturition take place? Sir, does the mother tell the fetus get delivered, or does the fetus tell the mother, Mama, I want to be born? तो सर ये मम्मी चाइल्ड को बोलती है तू बेटा बाहर आ जा, या चाइल्ड मम्मी को बोलता है मम्मी मुझे बाहर आना है? The signal is actually given by the fetus. When the fetus is fully developed, the fetus signals that it is mature by secreting ACTH hormone from its pituitary gland. So fetus के brain के अंदर होता है the pituitary gland, and pituitary gland of the brain starts giving out a hormone called as ACTH. ACTH is called as adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, it acts on the child's adrenal gland. Adrenal gland के अंदर ACTH act करता है, and the child's adrenal gland, which is just above the kidney, starts secreting a hormone called as cortisol. And adrenocorticotropic hormone से cortisol, also called as corticosterol, is secreted. So cortisol or corticosterol is secreted from the child's adrenal gland. So child's pituitary gland gives out ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. It acts on the child's adrenal gland. It gives out cortisol, that is corticosterol, and corticosterol passes via umbilical cord into the placenta. तो ये है fetus in the uterus, and sir umbilical cord placenta में cortisol पहुंच जाता है, and in the placenta cortisol will decrease the level of progesterone. Progesterone level becomes less, and it increases the release of prostaglandins. So placenta के अंदर cortisol जाता है, progesterone becomes less, and prostaglandin becomes high. Once again, fetus's pituitary gland gives out adrenocorticotropic hormone. It acts on the fetus's adrenal gland, which is above his kidneys. It starts giving out cortisol or corticosteroid. Cortisol passes via umbilical cord placenta, reduces the amount of progesterone and increases the secretion of prostaglandin. Once progesterone level becomes less progesterone acts on the mother's pituitary gland, and mother's pituitary now starts giving out a hormone called as oxytocin. So mother's pituitary से oxytocin gets released, and this oxytocin goes from the mother's pituitary, acts on the uterus, and the uterus starts undergoing powerful contraction. So mother's pituitary gives out oxytocin, causes contraction of the uterus. Oxytocin initiates the contraction, and prostaglandin creates the power of contraction. So oxytocin causes contraction, prostaglandin will help in the power of contraction, and under immense pressure the fetus gets delivered out of the mother's body. So once again, when the child is fully developed, the child's mature fetus's brain, pituitary gland gives out adrenocorticotropic hormone, stimulates its adrenal cortex to give out cortisol or corticosterone. Corticosterone will pass via umbilical cord placenta, reduces progesterone, increases prostaglandins. Reduced progesterone gives a message to mother's pituitary gland to secrete oxytocin. Oxytocin acts on the uterus, makes the uterus contract. Oxytocin creates the force of contraction. Prostaglandins bring about power of contraction, and the fetus gets delivered out of the mother's body. This is a beautiful hormonal control of parturition. तो इस तरह से parturition होता है. And parturition involves forceful muscular contractions called labor of the uterine wall. So labor pains begin, and how will labor take place? The childbirth is called labor. Do we remember 8.5 weeks later, 8.5 months later, the internal os will stretch and the head of the baby locks into the cervical canal with the amnion and chorion around it. We had done that when we did blastulation. So internal os stretch हो जाता है, head of the baby lock हो जाता है with amnion chorion, and now labor pains begin as more oxytocin and prostaglandins cause force of contraction. 3 stages में parturition होता है. First stage, which is called dilatation, second stage, which is called expulsion, and third stage, which is called placental stage. First stage, called dilatation, lasts for about 12 hours. Rhythmic contractions and relaxation happen because of oxytocin and prostaglandin. तो यूट्रस ऊपर से नीचे rhythmically contract होता है under action of oxytocin and prostaglandin. 12 hours the uterus contracts, and regular peristaltic contractions of the uterine wall begin, passing top downwards. ऊपर से नीचे तक rhythmic contraction होता है. These contractions make the fetus completely stretch the cervical canal. As uterus contracts, fetus head will stretch the cervical canal. The internal os is already open. The external os will also open, and the head of the baby with the amnion and chorion will pass through the cervical canal. This is called crowning of the head. The head crowns, and head goes into the vagina along with its amnion and chorion. With further contractions of the uterus becoming more powerful, all the amniotic fluid now goes into the amnion chorion, और fetus के head के साथ साथ amnion chorion है. यहाँ amniotic fluid आएगा, and the amnion chorion stretch. At one point in time, amnion chorion cannot stretch any further. Amnion and chorion will burst, and the amniotic fluid will pass out. We have talked about this already. The bag of water breaks and water passes out. In other words, the amnion and chorion ruptured and the amniotic fluid passes out. This is the first stage, which is called as dilatation. We have dilated the external os, the head is in the vagina, amnion chorion has ruptured, amniotic fluid has passed out, and that is the first stage, dilatation. The second stage is called expulsion. It lasts for 20 minutes to 1 hour. So 20 minutes to 1 hour is the second stage. First stage was long. If you remember, 12 hours there was uterine contraction, and then amnion chorion ruptured. Once amnion chorion ruptured, within 20 minutes to 1 hour, uterus powerfully contracts and the head goes deep down in the vagina. from the vagina, the head of the baby will get delivered, then the face will get delivered, then the baby rotates 90 degrees, the right shoulder gets delivered, the left shoulder gets delivered, and the baby is now delivered out. And I hope you remember, all of you, the baby has umbilical cord attached to the placenta. So we will tie a suture here, and between the two sutures we make a cut, and that way the fetus is separated from the mother. Then we catch hold of the baby's leg and tap it, or we pinch it so the baby cries, and rote the baby breathes, and the lungs of the baby crack open, and that means the baby has started respiration, and a normal respiration is begun. The first breath is done, the umbilical cord is ligatured, and a cut is made between the ligatures. This is the second stage called as expulsion. So, anything to help here? I hope you remember, we have done it today itself. The ovary and the placenta give out the hormone called relaxin, and relaxin will act on the pubic symphysis cartilage and will stretch the pubic symphysis, so the pelvic cavity becomes wider in diameter and the fetus can nicely be passed out. What is the second stage called as stage of expulsion? तो इस तरह से एक्सपांशन होता है. Then the third placental stage lasts for 10 to 45 minutes after the infant's birth. एक बार बेबी बॉर्न हो जाता है, the uterus further contracts, and by contraction of the uterus, the placenta completely separates. यूट्रस में से प्लेसेंटा सेपरेट हो जाता है, and यूट्रस में से प्लेसेंटा सेपरेट हो जाता है, which takes about 10 to 45 minutes later, and then we pull the umbilical cord. जो umbilical cord हमने कट किया था, प्लेसेंटा सेपरेट होने के बाद we pull the umbilical cord, and the placenta, umbilical cord, and the two layers amnion and chorion come out from the uterus, and that is called as afterbirth. इसे afterbirth कहते हैं. Once placenta, umbilical cord, amnion and chorion get delivered out, now the pregnancy is complete. So pregnancy was not completed on delivery of the child, it was completed on the delivery of placenta and the amnion and the chorion, which is called as afterbirth. तो ये 3 stages में baby born होती है. And so what do we do to the placenta umbilical cord? As I told you, if you remember, umbilical cord में से हम कुछ cells एक needle से निकालते हैं, and these cells are stored in a test tube as the baby's stem cells, and stem cells are kept in a stem cell bank, and in the future these stem cells can be used when the baby grows into a new skin or into a bone marrow. तो समझो बेबी को स्किन बर्न हुआ है, तो उसी के स्टेम सेल से नई स्किन बना के ग्राफ्ट कर सकते हैं. या बेबी को ल्यूकीमिया, ब्लड कैंसर हुआ है, तो उसी के स्टेम सेल से एक बोन मैरो बना के बेबी के बोन्स के अंदर उसी का बोन मैरो इम्प्लांट कर सकते हैं एंड प्रिवेंट ल्यूकीमिया और ब्लड कैंसर. So this is a beautiful logic of stem cells which are stored from the umbilical cord. And third, sometimes the fetus fails to come out and a surgical operation called as a Cesarean section is done. Many times, suppose there are twins or triplets, तो एक बेबी का हेड तो लॉक हो जाएगा, but the other baby, sir, we don't know the position where the baby is. Now, instead of being vertical, if it is horizontally placed, and one baby gets delivered out and the other baby is horizontal, the uterus will contract and it could crush the baby. Because the baby is not vertical, the baby is horizontal, baby crush हो सकती है. तो ऐसे twins या triplets etc. So what we do? We go in for a Cesarean section. Or sometimes if the mother is a diabetic, If she is diabetic, her blood sugar levels are very high, and via umbilical cord placenta, the fetus blood sugar levels are also very high, and in the presence of extra sugar, the fetus will grow tremendously large. So instead of 3 to 4 kgs, this baby becomes 5 to 6 kgs. It's a big baby. It cannot pass through the vagina because the baby is too big in size, because the mother was diabetic. So ऐसे केस में we make a cut in the uterus and deliver the baby out by cutting the uterus, which is now called as a Cesarean section. So what is the surgical operation called as a Cesarean section? So you have a normal delivery called vaginal delivery, or we do a surgical removal of the fetus, which is called as a Cesarean section. And we end today's lecture with a very nice point called lactation. So, mammary glands start producing milk at the end of pregnancy by a process called as lactation. The milk produced by the mammary glands in the initial few days of lactation is called colostrum. So, इस milk को colostrum कहते हैं, and colostrum is not white in color, but it is yellowish in color. So for the first few days, the mother's breasts are giving out a yellowish color milk, which is called as colostrum, and that colostrum is a must for the child. Every baby should be given colostrum because the colostrum is rich in antibodies. Colostrum is rich in antibodies. ये antibodies क्या होते हैं सर? जब भी हमारी बॉडी में कोई माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म जाता है, से एक बैक्टीरिया गया, our WBCs will scan that this is a bacteria, it's a foreign cell, and WBCs start shooting out protective bullets, which are called as antibodies, protective proteins, which are called as antibodies. So these antibodies are protective proteins given by WBC. White blood cell में से antibodies release होते हैं, and antibodies attack the microorganism and destroy it. So that is the way our immunity works. Any microorganism enters it, WBCs find this is microorganism, shoots out proteins called as antibodies. Antibodies go and destroy the microorganism, and that is the way antibodies shoot it out. So, in a child, a newborn child's immunity is very poor. तो बच्चे की इम्यूनिटी बहुत पुअर होती है, तो उसके WBC से एंटीबॉडीज रिलीज नहीं होते हैं, क्योंकि बच्चे को जरूरत ही नहीं थी. The fetus was surrounded by amniotic fluid and was not breathing, so there were no respiratory microorganisms. The nourishment also it was getting via placenta, umbilical cord, and we remember placenta के अंदर 7 layer थी to filter away bacteria, microorganisms. So child was sterile, but immediately after childbirth we have cut the cord. The baby is now breathing. Baby is breathing, so in goes air. Along with air go in bacteria, and that means the child is now susceptible to bacterial infection, respiratory infection, gastric infection. उसे diarrhea हो सकता है, cough हो सकता है, respiration of infection हो सकता है. So his immunity is not yet well developed. तो ये WBCs में से antibodies नहीं आएंगे. Mother's milk, colostrum, is rich in antibodies, and that milk will provide antibodies to the fetus, and the fetus will now able to kill the microorganism because of antibodies, the protective proteins that the mother's colostrum is providing. तो हर बच्चे को ये कोलोस्ट्रम मिलना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि उसके अंदर protective proteins called as antibodies are present. So I hope you all have understood this topic well. Good. So please read this part well. Next session we go into a very beautiful concept called as contraception and contraceptive methods. How do you prevent a child from being born? तो contraceptive measures कौन से हैं हम लोग ये करेंगे. ओके, चलो टेक केयर, गॉड ब्लेस यू, सी या.